Okay, howdy, howdy, howdy. Day 3, Celestial Language. Today's Play-Doh. So cool. Here we go. Let me get the screen. Play-Doh! Woohoo! I know, it's been a while, but I still like Play-Doh. All right. We talked about audio, knower, visual, and feeler, right? We've discussed these already, but we are going to really get into them today, right? So the easiest way to tell a main channel, so your main channel or somebody else's main channel, is how did you learn when you were in school, right? Some of us are audios, some of us are knowers, some of us are feelers, and some of us are visuals. Those are the 4 different ways that a person learns. Now, a person can be more than one, but usually you have a main channel. So these are the way that you learned. All audio, knower, visual, or feeler. So I'm going to give you a scenario. So this is the one that I use when I'm teaching in class. And the scenario is that there's a teacher that's introducing Play-Doh for the first time ever to her students. And she passes out a sheet of paper that has a picture of the Play-Doh on it, all the factual information about the Play-Doh, and examples of what a person could do with it is all written on this piece of paper. She also reveals some real Play-Doh on a table at the front of the class and says to the class, you can come up to the table if you like. Okay, she hands out the written piece of paper to everybody. So on the paper, it has the basic ingredients to make the Play-Doh. And this actually is your real Play-Doh recipe. So anybody who wants to go make your own later, you feel more than welcome to do it. Go ahead. All right. So the piece of paper has a picture of the Play-Doh. It has all of the ingredients of Play-Doh. It tells you that you can do, texture soft, and it can create shapes, and you can put it into whatever form you want, and you could mix colors together, or you can put them on top of each other, and you can put them into little pieces or big pieces, and you can also reuse the dough as much as you like. Just make sure it's kept in a sealed container. And Play-Doh is safe for all ages because, as you can see, this is just food. I mean, if they ate it, who cares? All right, so all of this is on the piece of paper. Now, what I want to know is, what did you just do? Did you skim over the picture and then just want to come right to the next section? Did you read every word that I wrote in detail about the Play-Doh, even though I was just telling you about it? Did you think back to the times when you played as a kid with Play-Doh and you started remembering Play-Doh and what you used to make, and you envisioned it in your head and started having memories? Or did you just go and imagine that you're going to go make Play-Doh right now and that you'd rather pause the video and go make it yourself right now? And you want to play with it. Maybe you even had Play-Doh and you went and got it. So if you skim the picture over and then just wanted to go right next to the next section, and you were just watching, like looking at the little snails and that's more of a visual thing. If you guys read every word that I had written down on these PowerPoint presentation stuff here, and you're reading every single word that I'm actually saying to you, you're an audio. Now, if you guys were remembering and you were thinking about the times that you played Play-Doh, chances are you're a knower. You're in your head going back to the knowing of it. And then those that just wanted to go play with Play-Doh and touch it, and that chances are you're a feeler. Okay. Now, in a classroom setting, so what happens is this teacher, okay, had told everybody that there's a piece of paper, everybody got a piece of paper, all the information's on the piece of paper, but she gave permission for everybody to go up front. And if they wanted to, the Play-Doh's right there. Who's up front first? Of course, the feelers. The feelers would jump off their seats and go right up to the Play-Doh. And the visuals wouldn't be too far behind because they're watching too. They like looking. And all it is words mostly onto the paper, so that's a little boring for visual and feelers. So the visuals are watching the feelers touching the Play-Doh, okay? Now the audios have read the paper. So the audios have a piece of paper in front of them, they're reading it, and chances are they're saying, hey, you guys, it says, and they'll read off it. Or they might come up also, but they're telling you what to do with the Play-Doh. All right. The last ones that will be up front is the knowers. The knowers are going to be the ones that wait. They've read the information. They're watching everybody. They're watching everybody, usually from a distance. And then they're noticing nobody's getting into trouble. There's no trick to it. And maybe they'll go a little closer and analyze. But really what they're going to do is they're going to go home, because the chances are they didn't even touch it unless you made them touch it. And they're going to go and probably make it. They'll go Google it. They'll go research it if they're old enough. And they're going to analyze it. And then days later, they're going to be able to tell you every detail about it because that's how well they know it. Where everybody else, forget it. It might have gone in their head and out through the other side because now they're onto something new. Knowers, once they know it, oh my gosh, they know it inside out and backwards. Now, a person's second channel will also determine what's going to happen. But again, too, this is advanced information, you guys. And chances are most of you guys aren't even going to know what I'm talking about here. But later when you take more of the programs that I offer, and you know, this kind of stuff here helps on so many different levels that knowing this is perfect. So those of you guys that teach, you'd be able to teach to each one of these visual knowers, audios, feelers. You could teach to everybody. All right. So when I'm in a classroom setting, it doesn't take me very long to figure out my students, because audios talk in class a lot. And sometimes it's hard to get them to shut up. And they'll talk to me, they'll talk to others. To keep them quiet isn't the easiest job. Give them something to read though, and then they're quiet. Now, every word that I say or have written down, I better have the exact word proper, and it better be spelled correctly, because if not, they'll tell me about it. They love to read, write, and talk. And they need very, very literal, precise, clear instructions. It has to be factual and to the point, or blunt. It's just yes, no, right, left. It's extremely literal, and they'll take the words literally. Any mistake, they'll naturally catch it, and they love any information in proper sequence. They would follow this out perfectly. They love how-tos and the order in a book, an order on a website. Just tell them the order and they'll do it. They'll definitely read it over first. They might love to hum or sing. So in class, if they're not talking, maybe they're singing. They are definitely the texters and the cell phones, okay? That's their lifeline. Maybe they're listening to music. So in a classroom setting, anybody who does these things are always an audio. A knower. Biggest thing with knowers, you guys, they have to have time. Knowers are not spontaneous and they hate surprises. They have to have time. They're the people that you say, we're leaving in 15 minutes, and then we're leaving in 10 minutes, we're leaving in 5 minutes. Don't just say, pack up your stuff, we're going. You'll shock them. They don't even know what to do with that information. They can't process it like that. That isn't how their brains compute. They might seem insecure until they 100% understand something. Sometimes people think that they're a slow learner, but that isn't actually it. They're an extremely thorough learner. And once they know something, they know it, and they're your best students. They don't seem to talk a lot. They don't have to. They don't like to be singled out, so they hate answering, like saying, questions. They're the ones that look away. They definitely don't want their hands up. They'll be the last to do anything. Yeah, if you're looking at them, they'll definitely look away. Everything that they give you, they want accurate and perfected. So they're the last second people to hand something in, because if it isn't right, they don't want to give it to you. Their personalities can seem hot or cold. Either they know it or they don't know it. They're kind of one or the other. They might pretend to understand something if they can get away with it until they really do. But they're always going to take the information home, and they're going to spend, chances are, hours on something until they actually understand it perfectly. Visuals. Their eyes are going to follow you wherever you're walking, whatever you're doing, they're watching you. If they can't see you, you guys, a visual student, if they can't see you, they can't hear you. I know that sounds stupid, but they have to see it to hear it. But they could copy anything that you're doing by a demo. If you show them how to do something, they could copy it. They like drawing. They usually can do anything instantly. As soon as you demo it, they've got it. They're not the greatest at reading. They don't even care. Words are words, because you got to understand that words take a long time to switch over into a picture into their head. So they have to read the words and turn it into a picture, and then it makes story. Like it makes a story, or it makes it real for them. They have to visualize something. So reading things just on a piece of paper, until that makes a story, or until that actually creates something in their head, all it is words. A lot of times they don't read instructions. I remember you guys, if you guys are sewers, any of you guys that have ever bought in patterns to sew like a shirt or something in school when we used to have to sew. And I remember this one pattern, I think it was called, what was it? Started with a B. Anyways, I can't remember the name of it. There was no pictures. It's all words. Step 1, step 2, step 3, no pictures, all words. And I'm reading it going, I don't know what to do. I had already been sewing for years, and I didn't know what to do. And then I think, what is it? Simplest or oh my gosh, it's been a long time since I've had to sew. Anyways, the whole thing is just about pictures with just some things, and I didn't even read. All I did was went to every step of the picture and just copied whatever they were doing, and I would copy it. I knew which steps that they were on. A lot of times a visual will skip words. The sentence kind of just jumbles together, and they're just picking out, as they're reading, a word maybe they read the first 3 letters and they just didn't even see the ending of the word, so they just thought that was the word. Visuals, your students usually are a little dressy, they're flashy, they match, their hair's done, their makeup's on, jewelry. They're usually the little more outgoing looking kind of people. Okay, they might have fancy gadgets or items, like like maybe their pen or something is sparkly, or different things like that. Now, they also like having everything in order. So their pencil case might be just kind of perfectly organized. Their books, their manuals, their whatever you gave them, if it's theirs to be able to write in, they might have drawings on them and all that stuff. They might have color sequences so that they know which section that they're in. Okay, they like having a lot of order. Love stories. They learn by stories. They love stories. So if you can tell them something in a story format, you've got them for sure. Art, drawing, any of those kind of things. Of course, those are visuals. If they are focused on what they are doing, they can't hear you, because they're not actually here. They're in here, envisioning what they're doing. And so all of a sudden the hearing kind of disappears. Okay, feelers. They have to do it while you're talking. They're not very good at waiting. They just, come on, let's get to it. They're very quick learners, especially if they have hands-on. If they can copy what you're doing, they're amazing. Any hands-on subject they're going to excel in. Of course, sports, that kind of stuff, they're very good because then they're active and doing something. If they've done it, if they've had it done to them, then they can copy it. I know when I used to teach massage, the students, even in day one, somebody's on the table and the other student is practicing for massage. The students that were feelers could get off that table and just repeat what the person just did, even though they haven't seen it. They just feel it. And once they feel it, they know what you did and they can copy it. Now, they're fidgety lots of times. They get bored easily. They like computer games, and they text on their phones and that while they're talking, but feelers have to do something. So usually they're on the internet or looking up things. They got to do something. So if that's their last choice, they'll definitely do it. They also like stories, just like visuals do. They're touchy-feely. They're touching everything. They're the kind of people that talk and tap you kind of thing. Hugs, pats on the shoulder, that kind of stuff. They love that. They get close to everyone, and they might have an issue with personal space. So they might not know that your space is here, and they just entered into your space because they don't have that kind of issue. They might get up to go to the bathroom a lot, and it isn't just to go to the bathroom. They're probably in the bathroom. It's because they have to get up and get around. They can't sit still very long. They also don't like to read much either because it's not quick enough for them. And they're bored reading because that's just a mind thing to them. So they want to do something with their hands. A lot of times too, you'll find feelers, it's really funny, when they're working on something, so they're writing, their tongue starts sticking out, you know, and they're working really hard. It gets really funny watching them. A lot of times feelers doesn't care how they're dressed as long as it feels good. Okay, but their feelings can be hurt very easily, so be a little careful. All right. So when I teach, I always try to tell some stories because the visuals and feelers love stories. And of course, you guys, as you probably noticed, I'm a visual is my main channel. So a lot of times I try not to, but my words come out, you know, so I might say, see you later, or I tell a lot more stories than maybe some of you guys want, but that's because that's also the type of teacher I am. So I'm trying very hard over the years. I have tried very hard to make sure that I'm doing all four, okay? Now, feelers have to have hands-on practice. So the part where you guys stood up and started doing the muscle testing, feelers, man, you guys were up so fast starting it, you would have been doing it. The knowers, chances are you never got off your seat, but you're going to rewatch it and learn it and, you know, see what else I'm saying in these videos and make sure everything's going right. Now, written information for audios and knowers is extremely important, okay? And the other thing is audios talk, and they want to share. And that's also in these challenges where that gets important because not a lot of times in you know, learning, especially online, do you get to share. So the audios feel like they're part of the learning environment because now they can share their information in the comment section. So that's also for you guys in there. Now, the other thing that I always do is I never judge a knower, okay? Knowers just need a little time, but in all the years that I was teaching, my knowers, once they get it, they've got it for life, okay? It's not just short-term memory, it's long-term memory. And those people become perfectionists and perfect at what they're doing. So all four are important, but they're all a little different. Visual feelers are a little more similar. Audio knowers, again, are a little more similar. So it's kind of divided a little bit here because these guys like stories and these guys like facts. So just if you're one or the other, just give time and know that not always is it just us that is in the classroom, that we have to share the time with everybody, and everybody has their own way of learning. All right. Shift happens, you guys. I want you to start creating your magic. Go to the email that I had sent you and go to the challenge again. put your answers into the comment area, and you guys are more than welcome to add in whatever comments that you want. You know, if that's the way you guys need to communicate, you go to town, have some fun in there. Okay, you have lots to do and lots of ways to learn, and you'll see in the email that I have a lot more personality traits than what I just shared with you guys. And of course, the programs and the books and all that have a lot more too, but those are for other days. So we will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow gets very exciting.